Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studio. Farzy Show presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. So much to get to. Ben Simmons, Eagles news. The NFL goes bonkers yesterday, and the Flyers have themselves a nice win against the Golden Knights that I did not at all see coming, but Carter Hart was pretty damn great in net. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, but we're going to start this off with a little segment that we started just last week, ladies and gentlemen, entitled Not for Nothing. Not for nothing, Ben Simmons. You ain't getting that money. Now, I know a lot of people have already come out with the whole idea of get over it with Ben Simmons, get past it with Ben Simmons. We got to put it in the rearview mirror with Ben Simmons. How do we do that when he hasn't even entered the building yet? That's just ridiculous. You know what's too soon? What's too soon? The people asking you as a Sixers fan to get over the Ben Simmons era, if you will, in Philadelphia. The minute he steps foot in the building, we can start that process of actually getting over it. Then he also has to play, so that has to be another thing that won't come till much later. So then that'll be another opportunity to maybe, get over it then. But right now, where we are with Ben Simmons is just the beginning of the process of actually getting over it. Now, I'm all for James Harden. I'm all for the potential of the 76ers team. I think that this Sixers team is constructed right now has the best chance to win a championship since we were talking about Dr. J and those 76ers in the 1980s when I was like 6 months old. Now, obviously, they made it to a championship against the Lakers, but I never thought they were going to beat the Lakers. This team is currently constructed, I think, has the best chance to bring a championship to the Sixers since the 80s with Dr. J. That's how optimistic and how happy I am that the trade went through and that James Harden is here in Philadelphia. That doesn't mean that I can't look back on the Ben Simmons time in Philadelphia and go, well, we were still a little underachieving during that time. We still greatly underachieved with Ben Simmons being here in the Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid era, and especially when Jimmy Butler came here, and they had a pretty damn good team then. Here's where I'm at. Reading the story yesterday by Kyle Neubeck, I'll go back to it. Not for nothing, Ben Simmons in Clutch Sports, you ain't getting that money. Because it makes zero sense whatsoever to file grievance against the 76ers and use the fan base in your grievance. The Sixers are, I think, model A citizens throughout this entire process. Did they force Ben Simmons to do anything? Were they trying to be supportive throughout the entire time? Hell yes. And were they fining him? Yes. But they only continued to fine him once he was uncooperative with the Sixers organization about the progress of his mental state. According to this story in Philly Voice by Kyle Neubeck, who did a great job getting sources and reporting this story, according to him, Clutch Sports, Ben Simmons' camp, are going to use the 76ers fan reaction to help them in their grievance and getting the $20 million Ben Simmons was fined in the time he was still here in Philadelphia before the trade, despite the fact that he was not playing. They're going to try to use the Sixers fan reaction in their case against the Sixers to get money back for Ben. Like hell they will. Look, I understand that every agent has to do the best they can for their client. And this is them trying to do that. But to me, they have zero case. They have zero chance to actually win this and get any of that money back. Because a lot of this, all of it actually, falls on Ben Simmons' shoulders. Clutch Sports has zero credibility throughout this entire process. How do you have credibility and saying that the Sixers did not help you when the Sixers showed enough faith in Ben Simmons 2 years ago to give him a $170 million contract before he took any leaps and bounds improvement in his game? Didn't improve foul shooting, didn't improve a mid-range game, didn't improve at all. And you want to all of a sudden say, oh, well, they didn't have any faith in him. They didn't trust him. They gave him a $170 million contract. Oh, but they tried to trade him. Yeah, it's called basketball. It's the business of the sport. So giving him that contract showed a lot of faith in him. And then when everything hit the fan and Doc Rivers said what he said in the post-game press conference after Game 7 against the Hawks, and Joel Embiid said what he said, Ben Simmons took those as personal attacks. Well, not according to Ben, at least not during his introductory press conference with the Nets. Had nothing to do with what the coach said, what any player said. This was all about him. All right. So let's take this a step further. You want to say that the Sixers didn't try to help you? Doc Rivers reportedly was sending text messages to Ben Simmons to see how he was doing. And Ben Simmons did not respond to those text messages or any type of reach out from the 76ers saying, Ben, we just want to see how you're doing. Can we talk about this? Ben didn't return any of that, and then supposedly was upset that the Sixers didn't meet up with him in the offseason, Doc Rivers in particular. And then when players took it upon themselves just before training camp to go out to Los Angeles to talk to Ben Simmons and try to persuade him to come back to the team, he said, don't even bother coming out here. So Doc Rivers, and this part of it's confirmed, the Doc Rivers thing is alleged. The players going out there to Los Angeles to actually meet up with him is confirmed through the players themselves saying, Ben just told us not to go out there. We just wanted to tell him that we wanted him here as our teammate. And then Joel Embiid takes the microphone, as Kyle also points out in his article, he references in his article on Philly Voice, when the season was starting and Joel Embiid was addressing the Wells Fargo Center faithful, he said, let's still support Ben because he's still our brother. And that was shortly after Ben first came out with anything about mental readiness to play. It seems to me that the Sixers and his former teammates have been pretty supportive. So then this brings me to the fan base. The fan base did not get pissed at Ben Simmons until he passed up on a potential game-changing moment in Game 7 against the Hawks. When everybody in the building, myself included, watched Ben Simmons pass to Thibault with defensive stalwart Danilo Gallinari on the behind Ben Simmons, Ben was just so afraid he was going to get blocked. He had to pass the Thibault there instead of just dunk and maybe get fouled and go to the line for maybe an N1 situation. We all stared at Ben going, what the hell was that? And then as the game went on, we went, I can't believe he passed that up. As that became more and more the turning point of the game, more and more people started to get pissed off. And we left the stadium dumbfounded that the Sixers lost this series to the Atlanta Hawks. Then everything was said after the game, but I'll go back to that moment. Sixers fans didn't turn on Ben until he essentially quit on the team, and that's how it's being viewed right now. And that's not just by the Sixers, that's not just by the fans, that's by the Brooklyn Nets too, as my evidence will suggest coming up in just a second. But the Sixers fans supported Ben Simmons throughout his entire time here in Philadelphia. Were there moments where we critiqued him, where we booed the entire team like we did when they played against the Nets in the playoffs 3 years ago? Yes, there were moments when we booed him during that, but it wasn't just him, it was the entire team. But I always go back to this with Ben. We did the same thing with Markelle Fultz. We wanted to see him shoot from the outside. Markelle Fultz respects and likes Sixers fans for this. They stuck with him. They cheered him when he shot a three in a season opener. Just for shooting a three, just for attempting it, we cheered him. Ben Simmons shot a three against the Guangzhou Long Lions of China in an exhibition game. And the Wells Fargo Center fans lost their minds over it. If that's not support, I don't know what is. So when they're filing a grievance, when Ben Simmons gets booed by sitting on the bench in South Philly for the first time since the trade, make sure you incorporate all the evidence of how supportive those fans were in Philadelphia to Ben Simmons while he was here. For instance, maybe roll the tape of him hitting that three against the Guangzhou Long Lions. And not for nothing, maybe you'll come out with a different outcome, and maybe you won't really consider winning that grievance and really considering yourself to have any shot of actually winning that grievance. So please. And as far as the mental health thing goes, this is really interesting to me. Kevin Durant, and I've been skeptical over it, as I've admitted. Kevin Durant addresses the media yesterday, and he was talking about Ben Simmons coming back to Philadelphia and what that would mean. I believe this is, this is Kevin Durant talking about Ben coming back to Philadelphia and what Kevin Durant did when he went back to OKC, and if this is at all the same. He says it's not for one specific reason. Listen to this.
This is a different situation because I got to play and shut the people up every time I had a jump shot. When we win, it was good to. But Ben doesn't have that opportunity right now. You got to just sit there and just take a bunch of just people just being childish, you know, throwing insults at his way because he didn't want to play basketball for them no more. I mean, it's funny when you look at it, and, you know, the big picture. You see what it really is, but that's just the sport we play. That's profession we play. I mean, we guys making $40 million a year. You can take that for 48 for a couple hours. You know, and I'm sure Ben has that approach.
Interesting. Ben can take it. He's making $40 million. Okay. All right. That's The whole thing there I found interesting. Now let's continue to unpack. Here's something else Kevin Durant had to say yesterday about Ben Simmons and the people of Philadelphia and just how crappy our lives are that we have to bitch and moan about Ben. Here's KD on that.
It's one of those things he's going to have to experience for himself. I can't go over there. Nobody's going to hold his hand. I'm sure it's going to be some personal attacks. There's going to be some, something that might, some words that may trigger you as personally. But that's just how fans are. They want to get under our skin. They want to, let their voices be heard. I think part of the experience of coming to an NBA game is the heckle. Some people don't even enjoy basketball. They just their lives are so shitty that they get to just aim it at other people, so it's easy to kind of get that release at a basketball game. So Ben understands that, and I'm sure some stuff may be funny. You never know. But at the end of the day, we realize that life is amazing. We play the game of basketball for a living, and a little bit of trash talk is what it is.
Okay, let me just get something out of the way here. I like my life a lot. My life's pretty. I admit I live a blessed life. So I would still boo Ben. That's if anyone else is sharing the idea that your life's awesome and you could still boo Ben, then you and I have that in common. But here's what I'm not hearing. Could you imagine if this happened with Lane Johnson or this happened with Brandon Brooks and anybody like Kevin Durant just said, well, Brandon Brooks is making $40 million. Lane Johnson's making $40 million. I'm pretty sure he could take abuse. Could you imagine that? I couldn't. Could you imagine somebody coming out on that team and saying, well, I'm sure some of it'll be funny. The people heckling the guy, with mental health issues. No, I can't imagine that happening if somebody actually had mental health issues. If that's the case, that is egregious. And I haven't heard anybody come out there from the Brooklyn Nets like Kevin Durant or even Kyrie Irving yesterday who just said, oh, yeah, I thought it'd be pretty funny. Or said he thought it'd be very pleasant in Philadelphia for Ben Simmons' return. I can't imagine anybody, and I can't imagine the Brooklyn Nets, not that I think they have a whole lot of say over this, because I think this is all clutch. I think this is all Ben trying to recoup some of his money, as basically the story confirms yesterday. So for me, if anybody had mental health issues and you're a member of his team now and you know about that, I don't think you'd be cracking jokes. The fact is that nobody is coming out with Ben Simmons and saying, yeah, if they boo this guy, that's a travesty because this guy has obviously gone through a lot mentally, and it's just in this society today, we can't jump on that. We got to support him. You know who did say we got to support him? Joel Embiid. The guy who plays for the team you want to have a grievance against to try to recoup some of your $20 million that you lost because you didn't want to play here anymore. And think about this for a second. Think about all the other teams that have this as leverage. And Adam Silver has even admitted that, well, maybe we can up fines for guys that don't want to play for a team anymore so they're not as likely to force a trade. If Ben Simmons wins this grievance, every team loses a hell of a lot of leverage in any negotiation process they have with somebody who just doesn't want to play there anymore. Why even have a contract in the NBA if at any moment you can just go, nah, I don't think so. I don't want to play. I don't want to honor it. Forget about it. Oh, you can't say that maybe my missed dunk opportunity, maybe my pass to Thibault was the turning point in the game. I don't want to play here anymore. How dare you say you might not be able to win a championship with me as your point guard? I don't want to play it here, and I don't want to play here anymore. You're a year into your 4-year max contract, $770 million that we gave you. I don't want to play it here. What the hell? Not for nothing, this is BS. I really hope that I got my law degree from watching My Cousin Vinny 100 million times. I would really hope that Daryl Morey, Josh Harris, Elton Brand, I really hope that the counter argument to Clutch Sports is just walking up there in an ugly old brown suit going, everything that guy just said is BS about Ben Simmons, about BS. There you go. So to me, not for nothing, folks, I don't even want to hear it anymore as far as Ben Simmons goes and any grievance he thinks he can win against the 76ers and using the 76ers fans against the Sixers in this grievance case. So that is today's Not for Nothing. Wild day. By the way, George Niang joins the show coming up in just a second. How about that? George Niang's got a lot going on, including these great minivan T-shirts that I didn't even realize it. They started out in Utah. That's a Utah thing. Apparently, he has changed it to Sixers colors, so that's pretty cool. But he explains the nickname, the minivan nickname. He also says he's got a little something to say to Ben Simmons on the bench there. So that's interesting. We'll get to that a little bit later. George Niang joins us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line coming up in just a second. But let's get to this. NFL, wild day in the NFL. In case you missed it, our man Adam Schefter went ahead and summed everything up yesterday. Just 24 hours. He says, let's see if the NFL can top these 24 hours of the offseason. Russell Wilson to Denver. Aaron Rodgers announces return to Green Bay. Mike Williams lands $60 million deal. Franchise tags for Devontae Adams, as well as Chris Godwin and Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz, nice little tight end there for Little. It's like 6'7", for the Dallas Cowboys. And Calvin Ridley suspended 1 year for betting. Yeah, that's pretty busy. What happened after that was obviously Bobby Wagner gets released from the Seattle Seahawks, as well as a fire sale just goes berserk in Seattle. Now, one of the most interesting things to come out of all of this, as I have told you, and some of you have, most of you, I would say, have believed me on this, the Eagles can say whatever they want about Jalen Hurts. They can say anything they want. We absolutely believe him, 100% committed. He's our guy. Okay. I still don't believe you, Howie. I don't believe you, Nick Sirianni, and I won't believe you, Jeffrey Lurie, whenever it is that you'll address the media. The Eagles are looking to upgrade that position. If they go into the regular season with Jalen Hurts, they're okay with it. But they'll be happier if they had Russell Wilson. They'll be happier if they had Aaron Rodgers. And I think they'll be happier if they have Deshaun Watson, who has a big day coming up on Friday, where there's a possible grand jury testimony going in here, and a lot of the case really expedites basically after Friday. A lot of people will have a better idea as to his future in the NFL after Friday. So Russell Wilson goes to the Denver Broncos, and according to, and I want to make sure I get this gentleman's name right, Jake Heaps from 710 radio, 710 AM in Seattle. He was on a Colorado radio station, Denver radio station, with Benjamin Albright, Broncos Country Radio. Broncos Country Radio. And he said that the Eagles were, in fact, in on the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. Here is Jake Heaps, who says he is a close personal friend of Russell Wilson, off-season personal trainer of Russell Wilson, and just spoke to Russell Wilson yesterday morning. And this deal did not get brought up. But here he is mentioning not just the Eagles, but another NFC East team that was in on the Russell Wilson sweepstakes.
I honestly am so thrilled for Russ and the situation that's there in Denver. And the reason why this happened so quickly and progressed quickly is, one, Denver was working on this behind the scenes for a while now. The other reason is that the Seattle Seahawks were limited, guys. There's not real leverage if there's only a certain amount of teams that Russell Wilson's actually going to be interested in or be willing to waive his no-trade clause for. He turned down the Washington offer. He turned down an offer from Philly during the Combine. And the Denver situation was the clear-cut number one choice for him.
There you go. The Eagles were in. He turned it down. Russell Wilson would not turn down his no-trade clause to go to Philadelphia. He wouldn't overturn it. He wouldn't waive it, is the word I'm looking for, to go to Philadelphia, and he wouldn't waive it to go to Washington. From what I understand, he just wanted to stay on as close to the West Coast as he possibly could and still give himself a chance to win. So now that this is over, are you okay with Jalen Hurts? Now we're back to this conversation. Or do you think the Eagles are doing what I think they're doing, which is just waiting in the weeds for Deshaun Watson to see how that whole thing turns out? After Friday, we'll have a lot more information about that. But according to a source very close to the situation, Russell Wilson would not waive his no-trade clause to go to either the Washington Commanders or the Philadelphia Eagles. And as recently as last week during the NFL Combine, Russell Wilson shot down the idea of going to Philadelphia. Wow, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a slew of players for Russell Wilson. I'm still very happy the Eagles did not make that offer. I still much rather keep your first 3 first-round picks and go into the season with Jalen Hurts than just overpay for a quarterback that I still don't think puts the Eagles over the hump of being an actual Super Bowl contender. That's where I'm at with this still. It's going to be hard for me to pass up the opportunity to have 3 first-round picks and the opportunity to see if Jalen Hurts is the franchise guy going forward. Russell Wilson, I would have loved to see here in Philadelphia, but I'm not giving 4 picks in the first 2 rounds for Russell Wilson. Bonkers to me. George Niang coming up in just a second. We'll get more to the Flyers a little bit later. I just want to make sure I got it. Yeah, I did. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, about the great people at Destination Retirement. My man, Mike Seibert, retirement income certified professional. He's a financial advisor for Eagles and Sixers fans only. His firm, Destination Retirement LLC, is a full-service planning firm and a partner of 1847 Financial. Mike helps clients with their accumulation and distribution years. Well, what's the difference? A lot. Have you figured out how much you'll need per month when you retire? How much of your retirement income would you like guaranteed no matter what? Do you want to protect any assets from downside market risk? And do you have a written plan in place? If you have questions, if you need answers, if you have assets over $250,000, Mike will create a written plan to help you offset your retirement expenses free of charge using software from Retirement Analyzer. He usually charges just under $2,000. So act now and reach out to Mike Seibert. Your plan will show you. This is what he'll do. He'll write up a plan that will show you how you can help offset your retirement expenses and also what to do in a volatile market and help minimize taxes. With over 30 years of experience in the financial game, Mike is a seasoned veteran and committed to helping Eagles and Sixers fans get to and through retirement. Reach out to Mike at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035, or visit destinationretirement.com. That's destinationretirement.com. Click on Find Out at the top of the page and fill out the questionnaire to see how prepared you are for retirement and to sign up for his newsletter. He can get back to you and let you know how he can help. As always, go Birds and play the song. How about Steven Singer, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, or IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Do what I do when it comes to your big jewelry purchases. Go to somebody you trust. Go to somebody you know is not going to be taking advantage of you. Go to the pro, the man that's been in the love business for over 40 years in Philadelphia, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Beautiful diamond engagement rings. Ready for love diamond engagement rings. Thinking of getting engaged? Ready to do it? It's not just a clever name. They're standing by at the ready at affordable prices as well. Just as always at Steven Singer Jewelers. Because whether it's ready for love diamond engagement rings or not, you always get the perfect price. So you don't have to worry about what the person next to you is paying. You just worry about what you're paying because you know they're not getting any kind of better deal than you are. They're getting the perfect price. That's what he's guaranteeing at Steven Singer Jewelers. So when you walk in, you see the beautiful diamond earrings, the beautiful diamond necklaces, tennis bracelets. The diamond stud earrings are marvelous. My wife loves hers from Steven Singer Jewelers. Make sure you do what I do and go to Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, to know you get the perfect price and treated like family at Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price every day. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, another shout out to our booker, Jason, for getting us a great guest today. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I hope you will too. George Niang from your 76ers, the minivan himself, joins us today on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. And joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, our good friend from the 76ers, joining the show for the first time. You know him as the minivan. You know him as a man having a career year with the Sixers. George Niang joins us. What's going on, George?
Nothing much. I'm happy to be in Philly. It's been a heck of a ride, and we're looking to continue this greatness we've been working towards.
Certainly, and we'll get to some of that greatness. The first thing I want to ask you here is, what were you thinking last night? You were going on a bit of a tear, and then this picture gets posted by Sixers media. What was going through George Niang's mind at this moment?
I think it was just raw emotion, and the shot clock was running down, and the ball, I made a shot that bounced in off the rim like 17 times. I think I looked at James Harden, and I was like, can you believe that went in? It was just raw emotion. The fans in Philly are just been tremendous. I mean, just the energy that they bring, it's crazy. It seems like every night is a packed house. So that's something I've loved getting used to.
Before you came to Philadelphia, was there, what did you know about the city? What did you know about the fan base?
Well, so when I was in Utah, I'd only played here, we only play here once a year, but every time, like, you were getting heckled the whole game by the opposing team's fans. And it was just a great atmosphere. And then I'd never won in Philly being on an opposing team. So all I remembered was the 10, 9, 8, 76ers. So now that I get to hear it every time we win, it's exciting. But the city has a ton of passion. You know, fans love their sports. They love their Philly teams. And me being a Boston guy and a Northeast kid, I can appreciate that love and that passion.
Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to follow up also. What were you thinking when I saw that? I saw this and I was like, what's this man thinking right now? What's going through your mind? Potential shoe model, hoodie model? What's going on here?
No, but shout out my guys at Step One. They do a great job of sending me gear and under briefs and spandex to keep me fitted. So shout out to them one time. But I just think the walk-in stuff is so ridiculous. So I just try to mock it and make fun of it. Another guy who's there with me is on the same wave is Matisse. You know, he just, as Furkan Korkmaz would say on my podcast, The Big Niang Theory, Matisse dresses like a yoga teacher. But I mean, I just think the walk-in is so hilarious. Some people take themselves so serious, and I just am like, listen, you can laugh at me. I was wearing green sweatpants with a black hoodie, and I just threw on some shoes, and I just figured, you know what, I might as well pretend like this is the runway and act up. So that's what I did, and it was a hit, I guess.
Yeah, well, certainly. I know it made its way around the social media platforms, and you're big with your social media presence. Obviously, people can follow you on Twitter. People can also follow you on Instagram as well. And then you mentioned it, the Big Niang Theory, which is just a great name for your podcast. Had you always wanted to do some form of broadcasting? How long has a podcast been on your mind, and how long have you been doing the Big Niang Theory?
Yeah, so I've done a bunch of podcasts. I did one in Utah. I've done a couple brief with a couple of my buddies, and then this one now, the Big Niang Theory in Philly. You know, the Sixers have done a great job, along with our co-host Lauren Rosen. You know, we get guests on there. It's only been teammates so far, but you know, it's a ton of fun. I took a broadcasting class that the NBA offered a couple of years ago, and it's something that I fell in love with. But little did I know the research that you have to do is kind of tedious, and if you don't do it, you're standing up there looking not looking the greatest when you're asking obvious questions and that everybody knows. So a lot of credit goes out to you guys in that field, because the research behind it is equivalent to like me putting hours in the gym to get better. It's not something you could just pick up and walk into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially in a city like Philadelphia, like you mentioned, fans are passionate. They're also very knowledgeable. So it's like, if I'm doing that, if I'm just throwing out the easy questions, whatever, people know it, they're like, what the heck's going on here? And you seem to have taken to that pretty well. When it comes to your preparation, what has gone into this year? I mentioned at the top of the interview, 9 points per game, over 9 points per game, at least 2 threes per game is what you're averaging this season, both career highs. What has gone into that success for you personally this year?
Listen, when you can play alongside someone like Joel Embiid, it makes life a lot easier. And this is before James got in here, so even playing with him makes life even that much more easier. But I think the preparation that goes into it is, we're real, contenders to win a championship, and role players need to step up, superstars need to step up. So I think seeing how hard Joel worked before the season, during the season, and now that when James is here and how hard he works, it's like if these guys are going to work this hard, that's the bare minimum that I have to follow. So I try to come in every day and exceed, expectations and the bare minimum that those guys do. Because let me tell you, I've said this before, but if you win a championship in Philadelphia, you're good for life. The amount of times I've heard Nick Foles' name is unreal. And why wouldn't you want to be in that company? I mean, it's been a while since the Sixers have had a championship, and I think all of us are striving towards that goal of bringing that home to Philly.
Certainly, and that's great. What has been the impact of James Harden? I know you've talked about his encouragement and asking you to shoot more threes and all that. His impact, I know for you statistically, has been great in terms of, I think you've had 8 8 games this season with 4 or more 3-pointers, and in the last 5 games with James Harden, you've hit at least 4 in those 5 games. So it seems like it's impacting you pretty positively.
Yeah, no, it's been great. He does a great job of, getting all of us involved. And I think he doesn't get enough credit for how much of an elite passer that he is. He really sees the game at a whole nother level. And people only give him credit for his scoring, but he can really, really pass that ball. I missed the other part of the question. What was the first part?
Just how well he has impacted you as a teammate. I mean, you're talking about a guy statistically impacting you, but like as a guy that encourages you, how has he been in that regard?
Yeah, I just think along with Joel, like they demand greatness. Like they've achieved greatness at their level, and now they're like, all right, I want to win. Like I want to be a part of a championship team, and they demand that out of all of us. And I think that's so important. Like I was saying before, is this is how hard they're working, and we need to meet them at their level. And they're so used to, working at that high capacity that they're, I don't want to say finally, but they're bringing us along with them. Like, hey guys, this is what I expect out of you, and I don't expect anything less. And if you're not doing that, I may get on you. It's not because I don't like you. It's because I want to see you be the best that you can be, because I demand that out of myself. And I think that's important on teams, and especially in this city, because if the players aren't going to get out of the players, the fans are sure going to get it out of the players.
I've seen some interviews with you, and I've heard people talk about their interviews with you. And one of the things you always do, wherever you're playing, whoever you're playing against, you always try to find somebody to have a little trash talk game with. Is there somebody that you look forward to talking with, a little smack talk during games?
On Thursday?
Oh, on any given night. Is there are there people around the league that you're like, oh yeah, we got the Nets on the schedule, or whoever on the schedule, I know I can talk to this guy. We can have a little fun.
Yeah, on Thursday, I'm going to make sure I have Ben Simmons on my list.
Really? So it's apparently not going to be playing, but on the bench. So maybe a little conversation that way.
I always say something to the bench. I always find something, a reason. But that's definitely a reason for Thursday. But anybody else around the league, it just kind of just happens in the moment. Someone does something that ticks you off, and then you start running your mouth, and I mean, it just happens. It's just the passion that comes along with the game. And I think, I've been doubted, my whole life. And it's just another reason for me to just pop off and say something. And I don't want to say be that jerk, but I mean, it gets me going, and it's nothing personal. I mean, it's basketball, and you shouldn't take it personally, because I don't, because after the game, after we win, it is what it is. I don't think twice about it.
Is there anything that you pre-script? It's just in the moment, like you said. Like, could you give us a sneak peek as to something you might say to Ben?
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave that up for a surprise.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't say I scripted. I don't do my research like you do, brother. But I mean, whatever comes to mind usually just comes out.
That had to be, I'll just say this, that had to be a weird situation for anybody coming into a team. You have Joel Embiid, then you have this guy who's a 3-time All-Star, runner-up Defensive Player of the Year in Ben Simmons, and everyone's like, we don't know if he's playing. He might play, but probably not. He says he's not ready to play. What was that whole situation like for you to walk into as you were joining the Sixers?
Yeah, I mean, it was a unique situation, but I think the best thing that Doc Rivers did is he establishes, this is the team that we have, this is what we're going to do, and nobody's ever going to put themselves above the team. So as much as like, I want to say it was never a distraction in the facility, it was always a distraction when I'd come home and watch like ESPN, I'd be like, oh shoot, yeah, like we are missing that guy. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, you'd see him around the facility, but it's not like he was saying anything to anybody. In the matter of however many months it was, I probably said a total of 2 sentences to him. That consist of what's up, yo, hey, that over and over again. But, I mean, I think the best thing that Doc did was unite us. And we basically came into every game, obviously until James here, is like, this is all we got right now. And this is what we're going to make do with what we have. And we were pretty successful. And, Joel had a tremendous, part of that season. He's still playing great. But then when you bring James in and, we've got DeAndre, Paul, all those guys filling in those spots that we needed, I think it's a relief for all of us to be like, all right, this is the roster that we have going forward, and this is who we're going to do it with. And, like you said, there's no real distraction. Not that there really was, But sometimes you dwell on and be like, oh, well, we are missing X, Y, and Z. But now that we've got that in the rearview mirror, I think all of us are real excited for what we have coming forward.
I would have to assume that when the trade finally happened, not only was there a sense of excitement that you were getting James Harden, obviously, but a little relief, like, okay, finally the headlines won't be about that anymore.
Yeah. No, it was crazy because we were having like such a successful year when you're missing $35 million off the payroll, and you know what I mean, with COVID and injuries, and we were having like a really good year, but that just seemed to be the frontline head news narrative, and it's like, all right, like, what more can we do? And then the final hour, I mean, I wasn't even sure it was going to happen. I feel like it happened like so late, and it happened. It was like James like brought a breath of fresh air into our team, and it's been great, playing alongside him. I mean, he's bringing in his championship habits from OKC, Houston, Brooklyn, and we're really excited to have him.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell the good people how you became known as the minivan?
Obviously, the minivan simply just gets the job done, and that's how I kind of pride myself on. I may not look the best, I may not sound the best, I may not be the fastest, but I get you from point A to point B with you and your family. But I was in Utah, and we actually had a game against the Brooklyn Nets, and I got in late in the game, and I wasn't really stretched up, and I had an opportunity to go up and dunk it, and I just barely got the ball over the rim, and a couple of my teammates in the locker room were like, hey, what the heck was that? I was like, whoa, guys. I know you all are like Ferrari engines, but I'm more like a minivan. I need a couple laps around the block before I get to top speed. And then our sideline reporter was like, oh, this is pre-COVID when they let like your sideline reporter and like reporters in the locker room. And then our sideline reporter was like, oh, the minivan, I love that. And then like did a special on it. And the next thing you know, they made the team made hoodies and t-shirts for me. And now I sell them at GeorgeNiang.com. So if you want a Philly edition minivan hoodie, go to GeorgeNiang.com and get you right.
Oh, I am in. You're going to see sales rocket after this, my man. That's fantastic. Well, you get committed. Oh, I get. Thank you. Something else interesting I found out about you. You were student body president of your high school, right? Like, what platform did you run on? And were you one of those guys that when you became president, you were like going to change the school? Like, what was that whole experience like for you back in the day?
Yeah, the demands in high school were like, can you change our first period to like a free period, and lunch is 3 hours? So yeah, I was fighting hard for those. Needless to say, none of it happened. It was more like a popularity contest, to be honest with you. I went to a school called the Tilton School in New Hampshire. It was a private prep school, boarding school, and I was lucky enough to win student body president, and it helped me with a ton of stuff. Obviously public speaking, doing speeches, but I wouldn't say I had any claim to fame, unless it was like senior day where I got all of everybody on campus after we were supposed to be in bed to run around like the quad or whatever. Some had shirts on, some had no shirts on. It is what it is. Hey.
Okay. Good enough. When did you know the moment? I always like asking athletes this question. When did you know I'm gonna make it? I'm gonna be in the NBA. Like, I'm gonna be good enough to play in the NBA. When did that moment happen for you?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you it was high school, but I was a late bloomer. In high school, I just wanted to get a scholarship to college, and then once I got a scholarship to college, I was like, I just want to start. I just want to make all Big 12. And the one time I really figured it out was my junior year ending, and I think someone on ESPN tweeted something. It was like one person. I don't know how credible they are. Like, George Niang has a decision if he's going to come back to school or leave for the NBA. And I was looking at my phone like, I do? This is a decision. I was going to come back to school, but maybe I have something to think about. And I ended up staying for my senior year. And obviously my my NBA career hasn't been all, rosy and fuzzy. I had to grind it out in the G League. I had to do the two-way contract. But all the work, it was worth it. And I'm happy that it landed me here close to home. and in a city that really cares about their sports here in Philadelphia.
Certainly. A couple quick ones for you, without being too technical for some people, but when you talk about James Harden on the floor with you, one of the things that jumps out to me is the spacing and just how different that is. Just in terms of on the court in games, what's the impact of James Harden like?
Well, you have to guard James like the whole length of the floor, right? If you see guys, if James is on the other side of the floor, they'll pick him up and try to pressure him and to tire him out. And the thing for us is, he creates so much attention and he can pass so well that he can be creating so much attention dribbling. And people just think he's dribbling aimlessly, but he's really just setting up the defense like, oh, you're going to overhelp and I'm going to find one of my guys, or you're not going to help and I'm going to drive it in and lay it up. And he's just always, like I've said before, he's a basketball savant, and he's always looking to manipulate defenses, to manipulate players, to do things that he wants. People are like, don't know what he's doing, but he's playing at his pace, and he's basically just teeing you up to do what he wants you to do. And as a real basketball mind, you can appreciate it. And some fans are like, oh, he's dribbling too much, but he's realistically setting the rest of us up. And it was tough to see when I was on the opposing team, but now that he's on my team, it's like, man, this guy's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain to us a little bit the dynamic between him and Tyrese Maxey? Because it really does seem to be, like the professor and the student on the court.
Yeah, I mean, James is going to be great for Tyrese's development for a long time. And I think the biggest thing with Tyrese is that, he wasn't really a natural point guard, and he was playing the natural point guard for us. So he was getting everybody involved, and everybody knows Tyrese can really, really score the ball. He can play the point guard spot, and that's another dynamic which makes us special, is that when James comes out, Tyrese can play the point guard spot. But now that James is handling the weight of bringing the ball up and getting us into our offense, James is a 10-plus year vet. So he's been doing this for a long time. This is Tyrese's second year. So to have someone learn from that is huge. But back to your question, having Tyrese and James is huge because you just have two guys that can score at an elite level. And then you add Joel to that. It's like, who are you going to guard? You're going to put your best defender on James. You're going to put your best defender on Tyrese. You have to put your best big on Joel. Now that's opening up the floor for Tobias. And we just have so many weapons. And moving forward, Tyrese is going to be a huge X factor for us because his speed is game changing. That's for sure.
Overall expectations. Now that, obviously the deadline is passed, James Harden is here. You're hot as heck right now with this team. What are your expectations for this 76ers squad?
I think the biggest thing for us is we all came here to win a championship, and that's what our expectations are, and that's what our eyes are on. But we're never going to forget it's one day at a time. We have 18 games left, and the next game on Thursday against Brooklyn is what we're focusing on. We're never going to look too far ahead, but obviously our goal for the year is a championship, and we truly believe that we can achieve that. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be one of the hardest things we've ever done in our life, and it's going to be done one day at a time.
Gotcha. Just want to throw these at you real quick. You mentioned the minivan and how you got the name, and I appreciate you giving us an explanation. Just any mode of transportation. We'll just do this real quick. Any mode of transportation. What would Tobias Harris be?
I would, I would give him I would give him a Tesla.
A Tesla?
Yeah, charge him up. He's silent but deadly. He can hit some top speed.
I love it. How about Tyrese Maxey? What mode of transportation?
Ooh. What are the Formula One cars? Because whatever those are, it's like he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Big, slender, and just they're flying down the court.
How about Thibault? Your fellow clothes model. Thibault.
I would say Matisse is probably like an 86 Ferrari. You know what I mean?
That is a very specific year. Yes.
Because it's like he's old school, but like inside, like his motor, how athletic he is, like he's cruising at top speed and is impressive.
Very nice. James Harden, what would you put him at? What do you think?
You know what? I would just have to say he's like a macked out like Bentley or Rolls Royce. Like everything is flashy and nice, but at the end of the day, like super classy and high level upper echelon. type of deal.
And then finally, Joel Embiid. What mode of transportation would you put him at?
Honestly, if you could put like what's the best engine out there? If you could put that on a Mack truck, I would say that's Joel Embiid.
Okay.
But I want to design it to be like smooth and I don't know. I don't know if there's an exact model for Joel because he's just so many things in one. Like he's a Mack truck, but then he has the Bentley Rolls Royce type to him with his smooth game. So maybe I'd say like a decked out like Sprinter van.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Yeah, no, I like that. And what I really love is all these really nice compliments you're giving all your teammates, and you're the minivan just pulling up like, hey, guys, I'm just here to shoot threes. Yeah. Like, I got you. No worries.
I'm here in the Chrysler Town and Country, right?
That's perfect. Hey, whatever gets us there, man. Whatever gets us there. I love it. George Niang, I so enjoyed this conversation. Make sure you guys are following George, of course, on all the social media platforms, including Twitter, including Instagram, and obviously checking him out on the Big Niang Theory podcast as well. George, this was an absolute pleasure, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. George Niang from your 10-9-8 76ers. You know what's funny? It's the stupid stuff that the players really have fun with. Like, if you can show a player that you're not just looking to be like, gotcha. Like, a lot of times you ask players to come on the show, and they're just like, I don't want to get in trouble and that kind of thing. And it's like, no, we're just going to have fun. We're going to shoot the you-know-what and have ourselves a good time, man. No worries. No worries. It is interesting that he's got a little something for Ben Simmons, though. And could you imagine walking into that situation if you're just anybody new? If you're George Niang coming into the Sixers, and it's like, this guy over here, who is the number 1 overall pick, 3-time All-Star, max contract, rookie deal, the whole thing. He doesn't want a player anymore. And you're like, okay, what's up, dude? Like, that's what you say to the guy, for the 2 months, 3 months that you're around him. It's pretty funny. But I really love the idea of him assigning cars, modes of transportation. Like, I was waiting for somebody to be a helicopter. Not the case. George Niang's all cars all the time. And yeah, one more time, ladies and gentlemen, let's make these skyrocket. You go to georgeniang.com, you get a t-shirt like that. Huh? I remember it's George with an S. It's like George's. It's like there's 2 of them, but there's just one. There you go. The minivan t-shirts right there. We'll tweet it out. My eyebrows have taken on a life of their own, and that's my own fault. I have been told for a long time I have really nice eyebrows. And then I see George Niang has got these like great eyebrows, man. Just a great set of eyebrows on that guy. Then I'm like, look at all the eyebrows on this show today. So I just thought I'd throw that out in the chat for all you wonderful people. And another shout out to our man Jason Berkowitz, who's our booking guy right now for the show. He's awesome. He's been reaching out to everybody. I think he has set out. I last I counted about 17,281 emails to just random people. And Brett Myers and George Niang said yes. So Jason has just been all the hustle. So Jason Berkowitz, shout out to you, my friend. Really appreciate you. Before we get into our chat check, let's jump in. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. And let me tell you about Rothman Orthopaedics and how great they are. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them at one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com, your official orthopedic practice of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. So check out RothmanOrtho.com. How about the great people of WinView? Download the WinView app to your phone and have yourself some fun. Challenge a friend or family member to a little WinView action on a game and see if you can win real money prizes on making predictions to the games you love so much. And here's the best part, not just the money, but also get a little bragging rights. So if you're a friend or family member who thinks they know everything about sports, download the WinView app to your phone right now. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where fans can win real money prizes for making predictions on the games that you love so much. So download the WinView app right now. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PhiladelphiaSportsNation.com, PHL sportsnation.com. Now let's jump into the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. 40 live views right now. Nice to have you guys in the room with us here. Kevin, good morning. How's everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you. Sean, what's going on, Sean Gillespie? April, what's happened to Dan Schwartz? Sixers future starting forward George Niang joins the show. Toby really got to do something if he wants to stay a starter. Oh, and good morning, everybody. Dan Schwartz, all fine points. And I noticed that he gave him the Tesla. Now, in my mind of negativity, if I tell any Sixers fan that that Tobias Harris is a Tesla, then I think you're going to draw these comparisons. He's expensive and very quiet. So, yeah, that would reflect his stat sheet and also payroll. That would so I think people would go with. Let's see. Speaking of a baby, Ben Simmons. Baby feeding app? What? Nobody ignored a baby feeding app when Dr. J was playing. The good old days. Yeah, Dan, exactly. No, but I seriously believe that. Like, as much as I love the Allen Iverson Sixers, I never thought they were going to win the championship. When they went to the finals against the Lakers, I never thought they were going to win the championship. I was like, maybe they'll give the Lakers a run for their money, but I never thought they were going to win the championship. So when I say this Sixers squad, as assembled right now, is the best chance to win a championship since the 83 Sixers, that's what I am presenting to you. I never thought the Charles Barkley years they were going to win. Never thought the Allen Iverson years they were going to beat the Lakers. I thought, yeah, you get somebody around Allen Iverson. Turns out they couldn't get anybody around Allen Iverson. Every, what do you call it? Robin to the Batman, to use that tired expression, it wasn't going to work out and didn't work out, no matter who it was. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it just didn't work out. But in terms of actually winning, I think this team, as currently constructed, has the best chance to win a championship since the 83 Sixers. Let's see here. John Cheeseborough, good morning. Mally, good morning. Oh, John, as soon as I heard about Kyle Neubeck's article, I was steaming. I am very, I get angry. I think this is how I know I'm in the right business. I physically get pissed off. Now, maybe some people will look at that as sad, but like, I grew up here. I'm from this area. I've lived the vast majority of my adult years in Philadelphia, the city proper, Philadelphia. And it pisses me off when people try to take advantage of this fan base financially and emotionally, the way Ben Simmons has taken advantage and Clutch Sports has taken advantage of this fan base. And by taking advantage of the 76ers, you're taking advantage of the fan base as well. Like, I was one of the people, like, we could go back on the show and I could rattle off for you the compliments I have showered upon Ben Simmons for all the other things he does great in the game. When you talk about defense, facilitating, all that stuff, 15 assists, a 15 rebound game like he had in the playoffs. And everyone would talk about how he had one bucket or whatever it was. I don't even remember, against the Wizards. But in that particular game, Tobias Harris went off. Remember that? Tobias Harris went off in that game against the Wizards. So you want me to be pissed at Ben? Even though they won the game, he did the things that we know he does well, extremely well in that particular game, and somebody else came in and played rescue with the way Tobias Harris did. No, I'm not going to be pissed about it. I remember somebody tweeting me about Marc Zumoff not asking Ben Simmons about, his lack of offense in that particular game when he had a double-double on assists and rebounds. I went the other way. I went positive. But yeah, after that, it's BS. Mally, hello again. Mally, I saw you tweet something. There you are. I just smoked before I left for work, Dan. Good for you, Mally. I hope you have a wonderful day. Mally might need a few blunts to listen to this nonsense. Laugh out loud. I believe that's the nonsense Ben Simmons got going on there in his camp. I see Beal wants to go to Philadelphia. Yes, Andrew Bogut put out there that he is hearing there's as much as a 2% chance that the 76ers could acquire Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal wants to join the 76ers and become part of the Big Three. Well, I got news for you there, Bradley Beal. It's now the Big Four. Huh? Grande Quattro, my friend. Tyrese Maxey's turning it on. And yes, if the Tesla, Tobias Harris, if Toby Tesla, that is now his name from now on. If Toby Tesla can come out here, Tesla Toby, Toby Tesla, whatever you like. If he can be a guy that could threaten for the 4 spot in that big four, Grande Quattro, then the Sixers are going to be even more of a force to be reckoned with. Happy Hump Day, Mike Fuji. Thanks for having me on Broad Street South. You guys are awesome. Had a good time. Angels, the man. Never trust a man who has a burner account because he can't handle criticism. That's KD for you. It's a little bit different for me. By the way, I totally left this out. When Kevin Durant was like, yeah, it's different here. I think I have it. I think it's like the first thing he says. Here, let me hear one more time.
This is a different situation because I got to play and shut the people up every time I hit a jump shot.
Okay, every time you hit a jump shot. You think Ben Simmons is hitting jump shots? It ain't happening. Anyway. Don Vito, what's going on? Never trust men in better accounts. I agree. Jim, what's going on, Jim? Nice to have you. Good morning. John, everybody saw right through Ben's goofy ass plan and knew it was nothing but a money grab on Ben's part. You're absolutely right. Oh, wow. Okay. I can enlarge this. There we go. How can you say that Sixers don't? No, that's not where I'm at. Oh, yeah. How can you say that the Sixers didn't try to help him? That's literally all they did. John, you present a fine case. Kevin, April from the top rope. KD is a snake. Makes sense, and Ben would get along. Makes sense, him and Ben would get along, no doubt. One of the dumbest reasons for a grievance I'd seen. You're blaming the fans for a grievance against the team, right? Seattle's truly open for business. Yes, they are. Julian, what's going on? Glad you were pumped for Niang. Hope it did not disappoint. Yeah, we got a full squad in the chat today. Julian says hi to everybody. John Cheeseborough, I think the other part was Seattle wasn't interested in trading him to any NFC team. John, that's probably a big part of it as well. But apparently it was Wilson turning down these trades. So let's just think about this. If Wilson's turning down the trade, that means Seattle to present to Russell Wilson the trade. You know, they obviously have to approve the trade. They're the people that are recouping whatever they're getting back for Russell Wilson, obviously. But if Seattle is presenting the trade to Russell Wilson, it's a trade they like. So if at the combine they got offered something along the lines of what the Eagles offered them, then that was something good enough to present to Russell Wilson. He's like, nope. And then the Seahawks ended up taking the best possible offer, which apparently was from Denver, where they could agree on the same terms as Russell Wilson that this was the best deal. DK Metcalf, anyone? Yes, please, and thank you. You got 2 speed guys, 2 route runners. Well, Quez Watkins a go route guy, and then obviously Devontae Smith can run the whole route tree. And then DK Metcalf in that mix. Yes, please, and thank you. And then have him play linebacker. Jim, hello again. Sean, Niang Wednesday. Yeah, let's hope. Oh, yeah, Juju Smith-Forster. Yeah, absolutely. Schuster, Juju Smith-Forster. Juju Smith Schuster. I don't know why I couldn't pronounce that name. Yes, I would like him here too, but DK Metcalf definitely. Big Niang Theory is a great name. Niang totally signed here for the song. Dan Schwartz, you're absolutely right. Shiloh, what's going on? Thanks for joining the show. Julian, what's going on? Evan, how can you not like him? He's pretty great. Kyle, what's going on? Jim, wow, he really gets it here. Jim, he absolutely does. Don Vito says he absolutely does. Myers and Niang have been 2 of my favorites in a while. Matt, glad to see that. Anti-Ben attitude, no doubt. Niang greater than Simmons, says Ben Timmons in the chat. Sean Gillespie, everyone greater than Simmons. Statement along. That statement alone made Niang a Sixers legend. Just the fact that he wants to say something to Ben Simmons on the bench, no doubt. All right, now here's where I got involved myself. Guys, be honest with me here. Who has better eyebrows, me or George? Marc, love you, Farzy, but you got cartoon eyebrows. Can I tell you real quick, just as an aside with my idiot Family Guy brain, the creepiest thing anyone has ever said to me? Yeah. Cuddle around the campfire, kids. Well, that was kind of creepy too. But here, listen to this story. So if you guys remember, years ago, when I was just starting at WIP, I want to say it was 2007. I was like a year and a half maybe in at WIP. We did a show called, we did a contest. Now, I told the story, I think when Big Daddy Graham passed away, that he and I sang Summer Wind on the air. And it was a contest between him and I. Angelo heard it. I had already been working with the morning show during this time. I was producing for Big Daddy. And anyway, Angelo brought me in and he said, you're going to sing Summer Wind on my show. That then started people sending in tapes of themselves, just actual tapes in those days, of themselves singing Sinatra songs. And I had to sing better than them. Angelo called the contest Beat My Frank. So I had to out Frank Sinatra other people that thought they could sing Frank Sinatra well. Anyway, long story short, that led to me auditioning for American Idol. I'm sitting in the audition room, and how it worked was they had the big cattle call, which was like 16 to 20,000 people showing up for the contest for auditioning. And you don't audition right away for Paula, Randy, and Simon at the time. You audition for like just a team of producers, essentially. And they bring people down. Imagine the whole Wells Fargo Center filled. They bring people down. There's like 10 tables set up, 3 producers at each table, and they just choose who they like and whatever. So I made it through that whole thing, and I'm sitting in the audition when they cut it down to like 400 people, which is what I made it to, and then I made it in front of Paula, Randy, and Simon the next thing. But I'm sitting in the audition, sitting in this like place at Chelsea Piers in New York, and this kid, who I will describe his look as haunting, okay? He was like in a horror movie. He's the guy that like comes out and goes, I'll take you to your room, sir. You know, he's that guy. He's like, I'll take your bag, sir. And he didn't have a hunchback, but you get what I'm saying. And close enough. And he looks at me and he just is staring at me. And he's sitting directly next to me in the audition, and he's just staring at me. And he goes, I want to draw you. And I was like, what the hell? What I'd like to, I swear this is his delivery. I would really like to draw you. And I'm like, all right there, Leonardo DiCaprio weirdo. All right. No, thank you. This is weird. And he goes, no, I'm a cartoonist, and you have drastic cartoon features. I go, okay. I'm going to be sitting next to this weirdo for like 6 hours, and he's telling me how he wants to draw my face because I have drastic cartoon features. Now, this is when I had hair, so I don't know if that added to it, but I've been told that I have drastic features. So I don't know what that means, but this cartoonist guy that I think wanted to wear my face as a hat and drive around in a windowless van, not that I thought about this much for 6 hours, but yeah, he wanted to draw me because I had very drastic cartoon features. So now you know that little fun fact about me. So anyway, Marc says, love you, Farzy, but you got cartoon eyebrows. Marc, you weren't auditioning for American Idol in 2007, were you? You don't have like platinum blonde hair parted drastically to the side, almost like a, what was it, a skater's cut back in the day? So anyway, I said, so does that make me have better eyebrows than George Niang? And he goes, yeah, if that helps you. All right, thanks, Marc. Mally breaks it down and says your left eyebrow is better than his, but his right eyebrow is killing the game. That's good analysis. Kyle says Niang is the truth. Love this dude. Great interview. Very nice of you, Kyle. Thank you. Sean Gillespie, eyebrows now? You people are sick. April. Marc, you're that's not me with the interviews, April. I appreciate it, though. It's all my man, Jason. April, play the song. You're damn right. Give your booker a raise. Evan, we will. Jan, play the bleeping song. Marc's eyebrows are sure. Oh, April, thank you. Marc's eyebrows for sure. I'm jealous. Mine are still recovering from the 90s. April, that's awesome. My Aunt Tootsie used to, she told me that I had great eyelashes. So I guess if the hair on top of my head was going to abandon me, the hair that stayed on my face was going to be just gorgeous. That's how I make up for it, I guess. I don't know. Dan, just found out no partner at work today. I know no one cares, but I need that celebration montage, Marc. You know the one after you had the weather girl on. Ever. Poor Luigi. Feel bad for the guy. I gotta find it. I don't know what the hell I did with it. I wouldn't have erased it. I don't erase anything. I erased it. I'm sorry. Ben Timmons, who the heck said you got nice eyebrows, Farzy? Everyone ever says I have nice eyebrows. This is another quick story. I was in Seattle years ago, and I'm at a bar called the Nightlight. And one thing I remember about this bar real quick, the menu was painted on the wall. And I don't mean like tacos, $2. I mean like a painted portrait of tacos. $2. A cheese painted cheeseburger, $5, whatever. And I was like, can I get a menu? And they go, yeah, it's on the wall. And I look at the wall, and it's literally portraits of each menu item and the price next to it. I was like, that's brilliant. But anyway, this girl comes up to me, and I referenced being bald, and we were talking, and a group of people, and the lady goes, she goes, oh, you're bald? I didn't even notice. You have like really nice eyebrows. Top 5 weirdest thing anyone's ever said. Let's see here. April, when you talk about Family Guy and kids, it makes me immediately think of the old guy with the walker. Yeah, that guy's weird. I think that guy was sitting next to me at the American Idol audition. Draw me like one of your French girls. April is exactly what I thought. Marc has had an interesting life indeed. Sean, no doubt. Dan Schwartz, laugh my ass off. I can't believe you tried out for American Idol. That's awesome, impressive. Probably would have won if you didn't do Joel voice. I'm so glad I am not driving to work yet. I would have ran off the road from laughing. Yeah, love that. Totally would have said that. All right. Darian, what's going on? Darian talking way too much about Farzi's facial features. Yeah. But since we're here, beautiful cheek definition? No way. Now that's not something I believe, Darian. Now I will believe that I have beautiful eyebrows. I will believe that I have beautiful eyelashes, and I will believe that my beard is well kempt. But when it comes to cheek definition, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is one thing from my mom's side of the family, the Eastern Europeans, that has evaded me. I got a big fat Farzetta face. All right. Most of my cousins, we got this face. I definitely have a Farzetta face, and I do not have good cheekbone definition. I am not Derek Zoolander. Okay. Maybe if his name was Zundalini or something like that, it would be better, but not so much. Okay. I got too many carbs in these cheeks. There we go. Beautiful. I'll tell my wife. Raise the people's eyebrow. I can't do that. I wish I could. Darian says, but you believe a girl who didn't notice you were bald. There was a lot of drinking. There's a lot of drinking involved. Anyway, thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. It really had me rolling today. As per usual, really. You guys are great. Thanks everybody in the chat. Let's move along to our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars. SkyMotorcars.com. Flyers, 47 save performance from a one Carter Hart last night. And perhaps one of the most the worst parts of this awful season. By the way, morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Ladies and gentlemen, probably one of the worst things about the season is that the great celebration. Like, you remember the Flyers after a win, they would wear the Ric Flair robe, or they'd wear that the motorcycle helmet. The starter Flyers jacket from my youth is what's being passed around the locker room, the dressing room in hockey. After every win, Carter Hart got to don the Flyers starter jacket last night after a 47 save performance against a pretty damn good Golden Knights team. So good for him. Justin Braun was also a goal scorer, and Oscar Lindblom had a beautiful wraparound to give the Flyers a 2-0 lead, I believe it was. They allowed one goal in the second period. Yeah, Flyers were up 2-0 after the first period, so that's great. Appreciate all you fine people. Wow, they're just still coming in here. How much of the chat? Did I miss a lot of the chat? Oh, you want me to sign the gold Harlem Globetrotter? Oh, did I miss Ray? Did Ray have something? Farzy is like a 68-year-old man learning technology. Oh, how to make it larger. Yeah, Rick, I know, right? I'm an idiot. Good morning. Oh, good morning, Philly fan number 100 champs, my man. Matt Snell, good morning. I just want to make sure I got everybody. Did I miss Ray? If I miss Ray, miss Scoozy. I know Ray, and I mean this with all the respect, Ray likes to pounce. Reads, evaluates, boom, 2 cents. Like it. Anyway. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. You guys are awesome. But Flyers back in action tomorrow night. 7 o'clock puck drop. Tomorrow night they'll try. They've won 2 in a row. So let's go for 3 in a row, Flyers fans. Let's go for win number 19 on the season. They're back at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. They go on the road now. They just wrapped up this home series here against the Panthers in Florida. So there you go. Sixers back on the hardwood tomorrow night against the Brooklyn Nets. Not that you guys need to hear that from me because you already knew that. And then finally, I am in the minority, apparently, of really liking the movie Semi-Pro. Bill Wine, movie critic, KYW, he and I used to argue about how great this movie was. He said it sucked. I said it should have won the Academy Award. Okay? Both, I think, are hot takes. Anyway, Jackie Moon apparently made a appearance in the Warriors game yesterday during warm-ups. That is some tough defense right there on Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson didn't come back from injury to see that smoke, Jackie Moon. Come on, everybody here, love me sexy. Hey, let's fill out the bathtub with sweat. Such a great line. Jive turkey. So, yeah, that was Will Ferrell yesterday as Jackie Moon for Warriors warm-ups. Came out, ran out with the team, played defense, was running some low post moves. Some great stuff. I found it hilarious. I just look at Will Ferrell and I laugh my ass off. And he also hit a half-court shot, if in case you didn't see that. So now I think, what is he, 4 3-pointers? Jackie Moon is now 4 3-pointers behind Ben Simmons for the all-time list in NBA history. Anyway, thanks for joining the show today, folks. Much appreciated as per usual. Have a great rest of the day. Jim Hyden produced the program. Jason Berkowitz helped us book. Well, this flat out did do the booking for our man George Niang. Appreciate that. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning as per usual. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy. Bye. Oh, from the Steven Singer Studios, this is the Farzy Show presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Take it easy.